play instruments for congregation, so I'll be there.
Amen. If you're happy to be in God's house tonight, say hallelujah. Hallelujah. Amen. As you know, I like to do things a little different. I tried preaching here some time ago, not too long ago, and one of the scriptures I talked about was, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." It's something that's been on my heart for some time. I want the shadow of God to fall upon us with His Holy Spirit. And in this service tonight, tomorrow night, and Sunday night, I'm anticipating great things from God. Get a hymnal and prepare yourself to sing.
Man, good evening. Take your Sing to the Lord hymnal. Turn with me to number 84. Number 84. Thankful for the grace of God tonight. Grace that's greater than all my sin. Amen.
There
put the plates out on the altars, and we're just going to have you come, put what you want in it, and it'll give you a moment to shake somebody's hand on the way back and welcome them for tonight. By faith, these gentlemen put out every plate that we had. You've got a big job tonight. You've got to fill it, okay? All right. Our workers have come from a long ways, and you know gas isn't cheap anymore, so we want to do right by them. So let us do as God would have you to do. Our Father, we thank you tonight for your many blessings and your provisions, oh God. We pray that you'd bless this offering tonight to the furtherance of your gospel, we ask in Jesus' name. Amen. You may think that Pastor Bates aged overnight and just really got old, but he's not. He's fine. But part of our prayer tonight, his father-in-law has had a massive stroke, and they have taken him. He was on the way to Methodist Hospital by Lifeline, and Pastor Bates and the family is up there for tonight. So let's pray that all would go well and he'd be able to be here tomorrow night. He looks a lot better than I do. Time's taking its toll. Okay, remember that. Remember Gary Bowles. I've been to the hospital, I prayed with him, and I'm getting reports back from some of the family that there has been a change. I'm not going to make any claims. God's making a change, and that's good. We'll see where God takes all that. But do remember him in prayer. Do you have a request tonight? Someone quickly. Yes.
Remember my brother, Gary? I talked to him today. He passed out of work the other night, and I'm not too sure what's going on. They were supposed to be here this weekend, and they're not able to come out because of his situation.
Okay, let's remember that. Let's remember that. Let's remember these services this weekend. Sister Heaton, yes, I understand she's not well at all. Let's do remember her, a wonderful family. Let's remember her. Let's remember our services over the weekend. I'd love to see the Holy Spirit just settle down right now. I can sense him. He's around. But I just want him just to flood us. Just open up the floodgates. That's what I want to see. And as the Holy Spirit comes and he lifts up Jesus and people come to him. Amen. Any other requests right now? Okay. I think we got plenty. Brother Bill, would you come up? I want to have Brother Bill. He's one of the sons of thunder. That's what I think of when he prays or sings. And God bless him as he leads us in prayer right now.
Let us stand.
Let's pray. Father, Heavenly Father, we pause this moment to invite you in this service. We have felt your presence from the very first note of the song, marvelous grace of our loving Lord. Grace that goes deeper than the stain of sin is gone, and we praise you tonight for that grace. We thank you for the opportunity to come and worship you and to be challenged and stirred in our hearts. Oh God, we ask that the Holy Spirit would have his right way. Bless Brother Stetler and Brother Sister Cole as they minister to us. We pray that you would clothe them with your glory and your presence. May, O Lord, we be receptive listeners, and may we, Lord, obey the Holy Spirit as he speaks to us. As our brothers already said, Lord, we're just hungry. We're hungry for you. We think of the song, open the eyes of our heart, Lord, that we might see you. Open the eyes of my heart, that we might behold you this evening and throughout this weekend. We pray, oh God, that you would crown these services, Lord, with thy Shekinah glory. And Lord, may the wind of God blow upon us, and may we receive what we need as individuals. Our country needs a marvelous awakening, Lord. It's our only hope. And we pray, Lord, it'll begin in my heart, begin here at Independent Nazarene Church. And we pray for these requests, Lord. We pray for Brother Bates's father-in-law. We pray, Lord, that you'd help him, oh God. This news is very serious and very concerning. I pray, Lord, you'd help him, bring him out of this stroke, Lord. And Father, you know all about it. And I pray, Father, you'd help this request that has been brought before us, this other person, Lord, that our brother has mentioned. We pray for Eric, Lord, tonight. You know just what his need is. We pray for Sister Keaton. We pray for unspoken requests, Lord. And we pray for others that have been, Lord, we've been bringing to the throne from time to time here at the church. We pray, Father, that you will meet needs. Do something, Lord, out of the ordinary. Speak to our hearts. Oh, God, help our country. I pray, oh God, shake us and stir us and help us to return to the God of our fathers. And may we sense an awakening sweeping our land. Bless now, Lord, this service and crown it with your presence in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Brother Bill. Thank you so much. And you come back tomorrow night. You bring somebody with you tomorrow night. And we'll fill those plates out for sure, man. All right, Tim and Julie is here with us tonight, and I don't know that I've had the pleasure of hearing them sing before. I may have, but I don't remember it. And I forget a lot of things anymore. so I'm looking forward to that. Brother Stetler, I've heard you in the past preach, and back when you was a young man, matter of fact. Yeah, okay. So I'm looking forward to that. And so without any further ado, I'm going to turn my mic off. I'm going to turn it over to Tim and Julie, after which, brother, you come and minister to us.
Oh, the blood still cleanses ours from sin. It still delivers fallen men. It has never lost its power to save. Oh, the blood hasn't ever changed.
You may search for answers in this ever-changing world. To Well, I'm glad I believe every word of that. Every word of that. And those are some of my favorite singers right there. Of course, you got to understand I'm a little bit prejudiced. That red-headed lady, when she was a little girl, she'd sing all the time. When she'd get in the car with me, she'd take a CD and say, Dad, listen. I said, no, let's just talk. Let's just talk. Sometimes it's good to just talk. And she would sing, and she would sing, and she would sing. And finally I said, Julia, let's quit singing for a while and give our ears a rest. Well, if I'd have known then what I know now, I'd have kept her singing. But I don't think I even told her, but the Stepper Trio, she sings with Alyssa and Paul, and they've just made a new CD, and I brought 20 of them with me. And so they're not here tonight, but they maybe will be tomorrow night. So it is such joy to be with you. My goodness, this church has been reborn, hasn't it? Amen. Been reborn. It is absolutely. I love to come to a place that shows the loving care, not the show and blow, but the loving care of godly people who want to honor God by having a nice place to worship. I like that. I just really like that. I think the Lord is honored by that. So I'm glad you're doing something special. I understand you're working on the school too, so there's a new day coming here, and that's great. And then it's so good to see so many of my friends that I haven't seen in a while. And I'm not going to start. I'll get in trouble, get in hot water deeper than I can get out of. But it's good to have all of you. Thank you for coming. This weekend of services, as I understand Pastor Bates' desires, are to center on the fact that this is Pentecost Sunday. It's a Sunday when we celebrate the event which marked the beginning of the Christian church. God poured out his Spirit on the 120 people in the upper room. And I mean to tell you, it not only shook the place and shook the people, it shook the world. Because in a relatively short period of time, I was speaking at a little gathering, and I made reference to something that I discovered in some study and reading. I said, in the first 300 years, the church won 10% of the world's population, the ancient world's population, in spite of persecution, death, and theft of their goods, and humiliation, and everything else terrible the devil could throw at them. After I was done speaking, one of the men who was another speaker in that conference, a very capable historian, said, you mentioned 10%. He said, as we've studied since then, most historians have come to the conclusion that the Christian church, by the end of that first 300 years, had won 20% of the world. 20% of the world's population. And it all started on the day of Pentecost. Jesus had looked forward to this. He said, don't leave Jerusalem until you've been endued with power from on high. The disciples went from devastation to the greatest manifestation of the power of the living God ever known in the history of the church. And as a result of that, they began to spread the glorious gospel. I'll be frank with you, I'm not a subscriber to the modern Pentecostal movement, nor to the charismatic movement. I think that's a distortion of a wonderful, wonderful display of God's power. And if we had time tonight, I could give you some modern day examples, some of them that are still living, that you could go talk to. What God did, he wanted to get his message out quickly. He wanted to get it out well articulated. And so on the day of Pentecost, when the disciples were filled, the place was shaken, flickering tongues of fire stood on their head. There was the sound of the rushing mighty wind. They burst out of that upper room and into the streets that were filled with people from all over the ancient world. The book of Acts lists 16 different people groups that are represented on that day that they spoke to. Parthians, Medes, Elamites, dwellers in Mesopotamia, and on and on and on. And they came out proclaiming what God had done. And everyone, you read it for yourself, everyone understood in the language in which he was born, the language they knew best. In the ancient world, it was not unusual for people to know many languages. But the language they knew best, the language they could use best to articulate this powerful message, was their birth language. And so they understood in the language in which they were born. And they marveled. They said, how do we understand in the language we were born into, and these men are all Galileans? Well, I don't know the answer to that, but I know back when the Tower of Babel was being built, God reached down and pulled some link out, and we went from one global language to many. And from time to time, God puts that link back in. And when he does, it's always for the propagation of the message of the gospel. Not just to make you and me feel good in the place of prayer or in an ecstatic utterance in a public service. No, it's for the spread of the gospel effectively, powerfully. Let me just tell you one story about that. Bill Carpenter will know a lady named Jean Schwartz that lives on campus down there at Hope Sound. Some of the rest of you may remember Jean Schwartz. She's a lady preacher. You may not like lady preachers. You'll have to argue with God about that. He called her. I didn't. And so she and another a Chinese lady have gone to China, into communist China, teaching English, having children's camps, which essentially are vacation Bible schools. Then because they had a Lily broadcast that on shortwave blanketed all of communist China, they became acquainted with the members of the underground church. And they began going into China and visiting these underground churches. Those underground churches weren't really underground. They were just out of sight, often in an apartment where they packed 70, 80 people into a tiny Chinese apartment. On one occasion, she was speaking at one of those little house churches. She said that the vast majority of the people there that day were under 40. There were young people who had a hunger in their heart after God. And friend, I want to tell you today, we need to be looking for people who have a hunger. In this crazy, mindless, lost its way world, there are people who say, what can we do? And that's when you and I don't have to pray half the night to say, Lord, should I say something? That's time for us to step up and say, let me tell you what God can do, has done. Jean Schwartz preached. When she got done, there was a Jehovah's Witness couple there. And they were over here talking to the young pastor and some other leaders of the church, and they were arguing with what she said. Now, she has been to China many times, never learned to speak the Mandarin language. She speaks English, speaks through a translator. She did in that service. But she heard this guy talking, and she went over there, and she stepped up and rebuked him and gave him scripture for what she had to say. And the guy and his wife were embarrassed and turned around and left. And she began to explain to the Chinese pastor and his leaders, the leaders of that little church, why that was wrong and why that was false doctrine. And suddenly, her friends were grabbing her and saying, when did you learn to speak Mandarin? She said, I don't speak Mandarin. They said, yes, you do. You just did. She said, I did not. I was speaking English. And it suddenly dawned on her. She had understood him. She had understood them. They had understood her. That makes chills run up and down my spine. I know that lady. I can take you to her house if you want to come to Hope Sound. I've gone back to her to verify that that story is true, and you can do the same. God still puts that part that he took out back there back in every once in a while. I believe in that kind of tongues. For the message of the spreading of the gospel. That's not what I'm going to preach about tonight. That's the very reason why I preach too long. The very reason. If I start doing that, you wave your hands and say, get off the rabbit trail, Stephen, and get back on track. Okay, let's get back on track. There are many places in Scripture where the triuneness of God comes through loud and clear. One of those places is in John chapter 16. And if you have your Bibles, I would invite you to turn with me to John chapter 16. John chapter 16, I'm going to read several verses there. 16 beginning with verse 1. You'll notice in this that Jesus, who was there with his disciples, says, I'm going back to the Father. I'm going back to the Father, and I will send another comforter. Is there any doubt that our God is a triune God? I don't understand the Trinity. You don't understand the Trinity. We have some feeble efforts to compare, like the egg, the shell, the white, and the yolk. That's really not it. We have some relational explanations, like I'm a father of Julia Stetler. I'm a grandfather for her 2 boys that are here. I'm a father-in-law. I'm a husband. I'm many things, but I'm one person. Whatever the case, God didn't ask us to understand. He asked us to believe his word and believe what he says. And so let me begin reading with verse 1. These things have I spoken unto you, that you should not be offended. That word offended there doesn't mean get mad. It means be tripped up. They shall put you out of the synagogue. Yea, the time cometh, that whosoever killeth you will think he doeth God's service. And these things will they do unto you, because they have not known the Father nor me. But these things have I told you, that when the time shall come, ye may remember that I have told you them. And these things I said not unto you at the beginning, because I was with you. But now I go my way to him that sent me. And none of you asketh me, whither goest thou? But because I have said these things, sorrow hath filled your heart. Nevertheless, I tell you the truth, it is expedient for you that I go away. For if I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. But if I depart, I will send him unto you. And when he is come, he will reprove the world of sin, of righteousness, and of judgment. Of sin, because they believe not on me. Of righteousness, because I go to my Father, and ye see me no more. Of judgment, because the prince of this world is judged. I have many things to say unto you, but you cannot bear them now. Howbeit, when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all things. For he shall not speak of himself, but whatsoever he shall hear, that shall he speak, and he will show you things to come. He shall glorify me, for he will receive of mine, and shall show it unto you. All things that the Father hath are mine. Therefore said I, that he shall take of mine, and shall show it unto you. This shows the triuneness of God, but it also shows the unity of God. Because Jesus says, I'm sending you another comforter. That's going to be better. It's going to be expedient for you. But he says he won't tell you new stuff. He will speak of me. He will explain to you what I have said. He will bring things to your remembrance. And so, in spite of the fact that we have a triune God, we have a one God, a single God, who is the essence, the embodiment of truth. Now, this God has functioned in different ways, in different roles, across the eons of time and into eternity. Jesus is described as the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. So, when time started, God was already. And God put in place a plan to redeem man before man ever fell. There's coming a time, and I'll talk a little more about this later, maybe tomorrow night. There's coming a time when the great angel will put one foot on land, one foot on the sea, and will say, time shall be no more. There'll be an end to time. God is bigger than all of that. So the Father planned, the Son provided. God the Father came down, God manifested himself as Jehovah God on the top of Mount Sinai. Thunder, lightning, don't touch the mountain, face shining till the people couldn't bear to look at Moses. All of that. God wrote with his finger in stone and established the 10 Commandments, not just for that law, for that time, but for all time. And then Jesus came. And we're told that the law could not do what needed to be done. All it could do was tell us where we were wrong. You shouldn't have done this. You shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done this. This is what God expects, and you didn't measure up. So it's not the keeping of the law. The law is a tool to bring us to Christ. Christ is the one who can transform us. So he comes into this world, is here for 33 years, dies on a cross, is buried in the ground, rises from the grave, is there for a short while, and ascends back to the Father. Profoundly important transaction. But then comes the person of the Holy Spirit. So the Spirit takes what the Father planned, the Son provided, and he becomes the executive administrator of the Godhead. He works it out in our lives. It's incredibly important that the Holy Spirit come among us. Because if he doesn't, you don't have any way of knowing the truth. You don't have any way of being drawn to God. The Bible says, no man cometh unto me except the Spirit which hath sent me draw him. The Spirit is absolutely essential. Now, put yourself in these disciples' shoes. Jesus is saying, I'm going away. And that's going to be good for you. And I can see them saying, good for us. I mean, for the last 3.5 years, these people have been with Jesus all the time. They've watched him heal the sick. They watched the man with the withered hands stretch it out and it became whole. They watched the blind man begin to see. They watched the man who'd been sick for 38 years and couldn't walk, who'd given up and was laying there at the smelly cesspool called the Pool of Bethesda. And Jesus says, do you want to walk? And he almost laughs at it. Well, I've been here 38 years. And I have nobody to put me in the pool. When I was younger, I scrambled and tried, couldn't get in. And Jesus says, rise, take up your bed and walk. You can almost see the man say, Lord. But all of a sudden, he does rise. He instantly learns how to walk. He doesn't have to go to therapy. He is healed. He learns to walk. He learns to bend and roll up his bed and put it on his shoulder and carry it up out of there and walk home until the Pharisees waylay. Wouldn't it have been wonderful to be there? Wouldn't it have been something to be there when you walk into the little town of Nain and here they come down the street? You can hear them before they can see them. You can see them. They've got professional wailers, and they are just wailing and weeping and crying. This death is not just any death. It's a son. But it's not just any son. It's the only son of a widowed mother, which puts her in a horrible, horrible place. And they're lamenting. Everybody in town is out. And all of a sudden, Jesus walks up, and I can almost, the Bible doesn't say this, please understand that. But in my mind's eye, I can say, Peter, say, Lord, this is a funeral. Jesus walks up and stops the procession, walks up to the casket and says, young man, arise. And he helps him out and gives him back. What could be better than that? What could be better than being there on that natural swale at the south end of the Sea of Galilee? And 5,000 men plus women and children. Some people say there could have been as many as 6, 8, even 10,000 people there. Filling that natural glen. Jesus has been talking to them all day. And Brother Philip, you know, he's kind of like Martha. He comes around feeling his oats and saying, oh, Lord, see where the sun is? Some of these people have walked a long ways, Lord. Some of them it's going to be dark before they get home. And some of them have been standing out in this hot Galilean sun all day long, and they may pass out on the way home. And Jesus says, okay, give them to eat. You can almost see him roll his eyes and say, so heavenly minded, he's no earthly good. Now the reason I mention, that's not Bible either, by the way, but it sure does make a good story, doesn't it? The reason I mention that is because this is the kind of nonsense we do. I mean, after all, he's God. But Philip is on a roll. Lord, I've checked. That sounds like a Martha, doesn't it? That sounds like an administrator. Lord, I've done my check, I've done my background checks here, and I found out there's one little lunch. One little boy had a mom that cared enough and thought enough to make him a little boy's lunch. 5 little loaves and 2 little fish. But what are they among so many? Good for you, Philip. We're going to make you head administrator. We're going to make you head of whatever. Jesus just says, bring the lunch. And so they did. And he has them set the people down in groups. And he blesses the 5 loaves and 2 fishes. And then he starts to break it. Now, I know I shouldn't even think things like this. I know this is very childish, and I'm 70 years old. But you know, I have to wonder what happened. When he broke that chunk out, did the thing go back whole again? Or did it grow on the other end? I don't know. I just know this much. They kept coming. He kept breaking, giving to them. They gave to others. And by the time they were done, everybody had eaten all they wanted, and there were 12 baskets full left. What could be better than that? What could be better than going with Jesus to Mary and Martha, those dear friends, and hearing them say, oh, Lord, have you been here? They had faith. Lord, have you been here, our brother, when they died? They knew good and well that Jesus loved him and that he could heal him. And Jesus said, Martha, if you believe, you'll see the glory of God. I know he'll raise him the last day. I believe, Lord, I believe everything you say. And then Martha says about the same thing. And the Jews, every time in the Gospels the word the Jews is mentioned, it's usually the people who are adversaries. And they say, could not this man who healed others have healed Lazarus? If he had been here, Jesus, you're too late. And he says, show me where you've laid him. He's weeping with them. Now that's a miracle. Because he knows exactly what he's going to do. So why is he weeping? He's not weeping because Lazarus is dead. He's weeping because his people don't understand. They don't know, and he cares about that. He still cares about that. He still cares about that. Show me where you've laid it. And here comes Martha. Oh, the Lord's been 4 days. Lord, he stinks. Jesus says, Martha, didn't I tell you that if you would believe, you'd see the glory of God? Roll the stone. Oh, don't add insult to injury. But somebody's got enough common sense to do what Jesus said. And they rolled the stone. Amen. And Jesus steps up now, not just as the weeping Lord who sympathizes with hurting people, but as the sovereign Christ who has power over life. And he steps to the mouth of that tomb and says, Lazarus, come forth! Somebody said he had to name Lazarus or everybody else would have come forth. What could be better than that? And then Jesus has the audacity to say, I'm going and I'm going to send somebody else. Lord, who is this somebody? Lord, we don't know. Then he goes on and he says, you're going to suffer. You're going to be treated badly. Some people are going to kill you. They're going to feel very righteous in the process of killing you. Their best friend, their Lord and Master, their master teacher is going away. And he's going to send somebody else and they don't even know who this person is. How could that possibly be good? Well, let me ask you a question. If Jesus was here in person today, where would he be? What do they call this? Beech Grove. Would Jesus be in Beech Grove? Now, you got a nice town here, but no, Jesus wouldn't have been in Beech Grove or Indy. Would he have been in Chicago? No, he might have been shot. been in Washington, D.C.? No. They'd have put big fences and concrete barricades around it. Where would Jesus have been? Well, he'd have been in Israel. That was his homeland. That was where he was born. If he was here today, that's where he'd be. If he came to the United States, which he wouldn't necessarily do, but if he came, he would come to Yankee Stadium or somewhere huge. And if you could get a ticket, which you'd have to get a year and a half in advance, you might get a nosebleed seat where you get binoculars and you see this little guy down there, if he was here. But you know, as smart aleck as Americans have been, as ignoring of his day and his law and his commands as he's been, why would he come here? He's more likely to go to Africa than he is to come here. That's where they're standing up against abortion, against homosexuality, against a bunch of other things that, according to God's word, he cares about. He might go down there to Central and South America, where Luis Palu, whatever his name is preaching to thousands. I don't know whether he's on the up and up. I'm not here to talk about him. I'm simply saying there's obviously a hunger there. And frankly, churches are emptying here. Oh yeah, the big megas are going, got funny names. What did I see? I saw one here in town. Something really. I-Town. Oh yeah, I-Town. Is that what this is called? I-Town? Yeah, they can take about 20-minute sermon. They never call me for some reason. They take about a 20-minute sermon once a week. And some of our dear boys are trying to imitate it. Once a week, 20 minutes, and then we'll go off and do it. That helps you to be able, you have early service so you can meet your tea time, with your buddies. That's already gotten me in trouble once recently. I better quit that. Jesus said it's going to be better for you that I go. You know why it's going to be better? Because the God who cares about people, the God who planned before the foundation of the world, the God who walked to the end of the road and carried a rugged cross up a stony hill while people, spiritual, religious leaders mocked at him and spit on him, and Roman soldiers jerked out handfuls of beard. That Jesus went away. But he sent someone who can be right here in Beech Grove on Friday night. You don't have to have 1,000 people here for him to be here. I sensed his presence here already. I sure have. He came to church tonight whether you did or not. You may be tired and worn out from a day of hard work, and you may be so drowsy, and this preacher may be going on, and you're like, oh, goodness, let's get a little. But you know what? He came to church whether we did or not. Because he cares about people. Not only that, you don't have to be in church to find him very, very good. You can be driving down the road with your heart aching with problems you can't talk to even the pastor about or anybody else. And suddenly, you're aware there's a presence in that car. Anybody ever been there? Whoa! He slips up beside you. You're driving down the road, and tears are running down your cheek. You're thinking, Lord, people are going to think I'm crazy. But Lord, I just need help. And he says, present here, understand the cries of your heart. Little children can whisper a prayer that's not well articulated. Seniors who babble because of Alzheimer's, but their minds can still function. They reach out to a God that they can't articulate any longer. But I want you to know, the Holy Spirit is there. When the devil devil's got you beset on every side. I used to pray and say, Lord, I feel like a blind man in the boxing ring. I'm sure the devil's over there. And all I get is air, and he hits me from behind. When you don't know where the devil is, he knows. And the angel of the Lord encamps around about those that fear him and delivers them. Hallelujah. He's the fortress of your soul. The scripture says, greater is he that is in you. Do you ever feel sometimes like we're about to be smothered by the powers of godless unbelief? Do you ever get that feeling? I do every now and then. And the Lord begins to, here, get your head up, get your head up, get your head up. If you look this way, you get dust in your eyes. If you look up, you'll see that I'm still on the throne. I'm still in control. All my promises are still good. My plans have not been derailed. I'm not playing catch up with the devil over anything. I'm right where I always was. The Holy Spirit dwells in us, and greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. I don't know about you, but I often speak in chapel life. Won't be doing that way in the future. But I have spoken so many times in chapel and thought, Lord, what do we do? You say, well, you guys live in South Florida, so you got a lot of nudity for those boys to do. Listen, let me tell you something, son. You can go to Walmart and see enough to damn a fella's soul. I'm telling you. And we live in a society that has the audacity to thumb its nose at God. And the tragedy of this, the colossal tragedy, the church comes tripping along about 20 years late and says, oh yeah, it's not got anything to do with the outside, it's all about the inside. Let me tell you something. God wants to make you a new person from the inside out, but what's on the inside will work out. If you have a holy heart, you'll live a holy life. And you have the Holy Spirit to teach you how to do that. We have a girl that comes to Hope Sound Bible Church, and she got wonderfully saved. Jackie Foley. You might know Jackie Foley. Yeah, Sarah let me know Jackie Foley. Jackie Foley, that's her. Every church needs 2 or 3 of her. You couldn't take any more than 2 or 3, but 2 or 3 would be really good, because she saw this gal come in. She's got 5-point red hair, beautiful red hair. And she came in, and she testified in service one time and said, I saw that lady just looking at me, and I thought, what's wrong? Don't they welcome outsiders in this church? But the lady walks up to her, and instead of saying something negative, she says, would you like to sit with me? And then, if you'd like to, after church, you can come to my house for lunch. But she took it down on the second row. The second row. Here's Jackie bringing this friend, loving on her, you know, and she's got 2 kids. One's a biracial child. The lady been raped. The other's a child that has some serious limitations. And here's Jackie just loving him. And you know what? I think God stationed Jackie right there and helped that woman to come to know Jesus. Now she's a heathen. She doesn't know anything. She doesn't know anything at all. She's grown up where the way women get men is to dress very suggestively. And what she doesn't realize is if you can get a man that way, some other woman can get him that way. What do you want that for? You want a man that will love you for who you are. Because you're not always going to be young and beautiful. Sometimes you're going to be old and whatever. Believe me, I know firsthand about myself. That's all I'm talking about myself. Joe Clemens, don't you dare say anything. She's still a beauty queen. She is. I'm glad she did get white hair. Because then people have been saying, is that your grandfather right there? Grandfather. That dear girl got to come to a ladies' Bible study. And one day she came up to one of the ladies and she said, can I talk to you? And she said, sure. In fact, why don't we go out and get a bite to eat? I was so proud of Hope Sound Bible Church. The young adult class got together. That woman's house was a wreck. I mean, she's working all these hours to try to make ends meet. And there's no incentive, and her house is just a wreck. And so Jackie gets her away. And the young adult ministries go in there and paint her whole house in one day. And buy a bunch of furniture and put in there, and some rugs and put in there. Clean the place up, brighten it up. When she comes back home at night, she just collapses, sobbing and crying. That's the coolest thing, isn't it? Now we got a big young adult group, and that's good. Not every church could do that. But I'm so glad they did that. She wanted to get her kids in Christian school, so we got her a job and be part of her benefits, so she would pay all that. But she says this, let me talk to you. And she said, you know, it's dawned on me that my dress really trashy. She said, where I came from, that's the way everybody did. But she said, I'm a Christian. And if I do find a husband, I want him to be a good Christian. And she said, could you help me? You know what that girl did? She put her arms around her, loved her, and cried with her, and said, I'll go shopping with you anytime you can go. And she bought a bunch of her clothes. And that girl has found what it means to have a strengthening presence within. You know, when I look at those boys in school, I think, Lord, look what they're going into. When I think of you guys, when I pastored, I had some of the guys come to me and say, Pastor, did you ever work with women? I said, well, yeah, there was a woman or two who worked in our shop. Most of the rest were men. Very dirty-minded, filthy mouthed men made passes that woman, made ugly comments. They said, well, it's gotten worse, if anything. So you go to work, and the woman seems to feel if she can get you, she's a better woman than your wife is. And guys get to talking with and sympathizing with. Oh, I can't believe your husband would treat a nice person like you. And all of a sudden there's bonding. First thing you know, there's another home on the rise. Listen to me. You be careful. Part of the reason we got wild school shootings and all that crazy nonsense is because we have broken, fractured homes and no father figures. Now, I'm not saying that to blast away at people that sin has taken that kind of toll in their life. I'm simply saying we need to step up. It may be that you need to take somebody else's boy fishing with you, or take some other boy and teach him how to deer hunt or rabbit hunt or whatever. We're the church. We try to help and heal and do the best we can. But you know, the Lord would say to me, now Dan, listen. This is what I said. Greater is he that is in you. You remember how I helped you? And my mind went back to when I told the Lord, I don't think I'll ever get the victory. I don't think I'll ever get the victory. I don't think I'll ever be able to walk straight. And God said, yes, you will. If you let me, I'll help you. And I began to realize that I needed to not only have my sins forgiven, but I need to have my heart purified. I needed the strengthening power of the fullness of the Holy Spirit dwelling in me in all of his richness. I needed a foundational shift in my life from living with me in the driver's seat to living with God in the driver's seat, where I'd rather please him than I would anybody else in the world, including myself. I found out he could teach me how to live. And he was my strength where I was weak. And he'd say, no, Dan, this is not going to work for you. That may work for Steve Clemens, but it won't work for you. Dan, you can't do this. Hires may, but you can't. And you know, I learned he knows me a lot better than I know me. And if he gives me that kind of direction, he's trying to keep me on the track. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. He's taking all the Father plan and all the Son purchase, and he's working it out in your life. One of the reasons we have such a terrible rate of people going back into sin is because we don't let God finish the job. He forgives us, but he wants to take care of what caused this mess. He knows that when the fall happened, it affected everybody from this gentleman right up here to this gentleman. Everybody in between, and me included. And that's a shift to a self-centeredness in our life. And if it becomes a contest between what God wants and what we feel comfortable with, or what will embarrass us, or, Lord, I don't want to do something stupid. Lord, I remember when God asked me if he could have control of all of my life. He asked me if he could tell me who to marry. And I thought, oh. Now, Lord, I'm not going to date any non-Christian girls. But Lord, I do want to decide who I do date. What if the Lord brought me somebody and says, now she's not very pretty, but she's really spiritual? I know. You know what? There are plenty of earnest-hearted young guys that have struggled with it. Finally, I told the Lord I'd marry whoever he told me to, and he told me to marry Joan. She was the prettiest girl. And Steve, I'm not going to put you on the spot. What's she the prettiest girl? I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to your wife. She's a beautiful lady. Oh, man. You know what I found out? When God has control, he's like a loving Heavenly Father. I have to be careful as a granddad. I end up buying stupid stuff for my kids. We put a playroom. We had a back porch. We didn't use much. I mean, who wants to go outside in Florida heat when you got air conditioning on the inside? Maybe there was a day when they used screened-in porches, but no more. Not us. So we turned it into a kid's playroom. And I'd go to the thrift store. You know what a thrift store is? Yeah. We have a thrift store, and money goes to missions. I'd go in there and say, ooh, look at that monster truck. Got some free tickets and gave them to my son-in-law. And he took those boys to see monster trucks. They've been monster trucking it ever since, you know. So I see this monster truck and I buy that. And I go out with all these toys in my hands, and people look at me like, gray hair? Toys? Crazy. Alzheimer's. Reliving his childhood. But there comes a point when, goodness, we got so many toys, it takes us 45 minutes to clean it up after they get done dragging out everything to see what's on the bottom of the toy box. You know how they do that? They can't play with what's on top. They got to find out what's on the bottom. What time is it? Somebody tell me what time. What time is it? What time is it? 8:05. What time is it supposed to be done? Oh, man. Oh, there's a clock right there. So I've been letting this thing go off because the last time I have this wake lock, which means it stays on all the time. But if you leave that on, it'll run the battery slap dead. When I turned it on to come to church, it was slap dead. So I got 20% battery. Jesus said it's better for you. He's everywhere present. Everywhere. Poor little church that just has a ratty house of worship. Or this beautiful sanctuary. Somebody stuck away in a big, high steeple, formal church, but there's something in their heart that says, oh God, I want more than ritual. I want to know you. I know a lady like that. She goes to United Church of Christ. They believe as nearly nothing as anything I've ever seen. But that lady wants to know God. And you know what? God finds people like that. God finds people. He's everywhere present. He's the executor of the Godhead. He applies what we need of the great plan of salvation in our lives. He's our strength and our protector. So on this Pentecost Sunday, we should realize it's more than just the sensational beginning of the church. It's more God revealing and himself in a new way that's still in vogue today. No, we're not looking for this place to be shaken. We're not looking for any flickering tongues of fire. You know, there are two other outpourings of the Spirit in the book of Acts. None of them had the sound of the rushing mighty wind or the shaking of the place. They had people of different cultures, so they did have speaking in languages in which people were born. But God's not looking to duplicate the sensational. No, he's looking to step into the 21st century and be to you and me exactly what we need him to be. When you're retirement age, he understands that. When you're a teenager and you want to serve God. When you're a young family and both of you are working your head off to try to pay the mortgage and keep up with all the tricky stuff that everybody else has. Maybe the Lord will help you to run into Dave Ramsey and he'll help you. Yeah. Go ahead and sell that motorcycle, Dad. It might kill you anyway. Your parents need a dad more than you need a motorcycle, even though I do like it. He understands where we are. He understands where you are when you feel like you're forgotten. He understands where you are when your life has had some horrible abuse that you can't walk away from. He understands when nobody else does. The executive administrator of the Trinity, God himself in the person of the Holy Spirit, wants to fill your heart, make you clean, keep you clean, and glorify the Father in the process. Magnify the work of the Son in the process. I'm glad we're having Holy Spirit weekend here. I'm glad we are. Because it's one of the greatest blessings the church has. Having God himself come in the person of the Holy Spirit. Let's bow our heads together. Lord, we come to you this evening, and we need you. Lord, the devil loves to throw the dust of this world in our eyes until all we can see is the craziness in Ukraine and the threats of China and the cultural decay in our country and the agenda of progressive liberals and LGBTQ people and all of the rest. Lord, we need you. You respond to us. I'm right here. I haven't gone on vacation. I'm not wowed by the devil. I'm not trying to scratch up new kinds of grace. No. Lord, we need you because you are our all-sufficiency. You're our all-sufficiency for our homes. You're our all-sufficiency for our past. You're our all-sufficiency for the hurts of the heart. You're our all-sufficiency going forward. You said to these disciples, there's some people going to treat you bad. There's some people going to kill you and think they're doing God a favor. But I'm sending one who be what you need. Lord, we need you. Give us your help. Give us your help. And we'll give you the praise. In Jesus' name. I'd like for us to stand together as we go tonight. And I'd like to ask Julie and Tim to come. And I want us to sing that familiar Gaither song, Come, Holy Spirit. I need you. Come, sweet Spirit, I pray. Come in your strength and your power. Come in your own gentle way. We bow our heads together and make that prayer as we close tonight. Would you do that? Everybody help them sing tonight. Come, Holy Spirit, I need you. Come, sweet Spirit, night, asking him to come among us tomorrow night and on Sunday. Will you do that? I'm not sufficient. You're not sufficient. But he is. He is. The Lord bless you. Thank you for being here tonight.